Well, good afternoon, boys and girls and parents. This is Mr. Ziegler talking to you on Tuesday. I hope that all is well. I hope you're all well and are keeping the faith. I know it may be a long time till we see each other again, but I hope that everything is well with you. Today, I just wanted to make a short video on just a general subject, that is inspiration. How can we keep ourselves motivated and inspire ourselves to do better, musically and personally, uh, to re-energize ourselves, keep that desire to get better. And so I just wanted to talk about that briefly, and hopefully you might find some of this helpful. My own story is that I really didn't get serious about music and this instrument here until I was in high school. I played in grade school, but I really didn't know how to read. I was just kind of aimlessly guessing until I got into high school, and I had a very good high school band director, and he was an inspiration to me. He would give me advice. He told me to go take private lessons, which I did, and my trumpet teacher Gordon Alt taught me how to read, and I started just from whole notes. I mean, I couldn't read anything. And with his guidance, I learned how to read music. And my band director got me into jazz. He let me borrow records, told me what kind of records to get. And I started practicing and I got better. And then things went on from there. I was able to go to college, and then music enabled me to move out of my hometown of Arnold, Missouri, go on the road with a band, and that brought me to Los Angeles, to California, where I got married, and now I, perform and work out here. And it's all because of music. So my band director, Mr. McCreary, was very inspirational to me. And so we need to find people and performers that can keep us motivated. So that's what I'm talking about today. Again, sorry, I'm looking at notes. Personal inspiration. I was just telling my story, but on another level, my wife suggested yesterday that we put our flag up to kind of remind us that our country is still strong, and that our country is bigger than any problem that we face. We've faced many problems in our history: the Civil War, the two World Wars, the Great Depression, September 11th, and we've been able to survive. And we're going to figure out a way to do it this time, because our country is not a nationality; it's an idea. It's an idea that we can govern ourselves, and we're going to be able to do it. It's not going to be easy, but we will make it. So that's on a personal note. That we can do these things. We can, just a simple thing. I'm keeping my flag up just to kind of remind me of that. So you might want to think about that. Listening to great speakers, read great books, read about great thoughts. The Bible, wonderful stories in the Bible, of course. Shakespeare. Shakespeare is a great inspiration. I love Shakespeare. Reading great novels or biographies, where you hear that you can read about the history of people and their troubles and their joys and how they overcame them. Winston Churchill is a personal favorite of mine. A man not without faults, but a man that was a great inspiration and had lots of great sayings and thoughts to impart to us. On musical inspiration, some of you take private lessons, and you can learn a lot, obviously, from your private teachers. They are probably very good players. And if you're able to keep in touch with them, via video or whatever, there's lots to learn there, of course. Of course, practicing scales, your exercises is good, but it's also good to feed our ears to listen to great players, to give us a bar to kind of aspire to. You have on your phones and on your computer, there's YouTube. There's a wonderful resource. It's got just about any musician that managed to get on film you can listen and watch them and be inspired by them on many instruments. I'm just going to run through a short list of players. You have YouTube, of course. I'm sorry, I'm getting off the subject, but also recordings, obviously. If you're able to, if you have CDs of performances available, of course, MP3 files, iPods, where you can download something. You can download a lot of music right off the internet. That's great. In addition to watching it, of course. There's so many players. I'm sure I'm gonna mention a few, but there's so many others, and you can do like a search, maybe a generic instrument search, and see what you come up with, or watch orchestral performances, and you can hear great individuals working together. But just a small sample of violin, for example, Itzhak Perlman, Perlman, fine, wonderful player, still around. Isaac Stern, another great violinist. Sarah Chang and Hilary Hahn are good young violinists, as well as Joshua Bell. And a lot of them have videos that you can watch. And there's so many others. Carol, I didn't want to forget viola. I did find a name, Bruno Giorana. He's an Italian violist. But if you did a viola search, I'm sure you could find other players as well. Jazz violinists too. You might come into that, or Charlie Daniels. Anywhere that you can find inspiration is great. For the flute, there's Eugenia Zuckerman, who's a fine classical flute player, as well as James Galway, who is very popular and very well known. For the clarinet, there's a man named Richard Stoltzman who plays. And there are so many others that you can maybe do a search on. Many jazz clarinetists, especially from the swing era, like Benny Goodman, Artie Shaw, Pete Fountain, Dixieland player, Johnny Dodds. There's so many players, and you can just you can listen and find out. Alto sax. There was a great sax teacher in Indiana named Eugene Rousseau. There might be some video of him, but you can do a generic search there. And of course, the alto sax, very popular in jazz. Charlie Parker, Johnny Hodges, Benny Carter. You can draw inspiration there. For the trumpet in the classical symphonic realm, there's Maurice Andre, wonderful French trumpet player. Alison Balsam is a good young player who's made some recordings and some videos. Wynton Marsalis, who's very well known in both classical and jazz veins. And many famous older jazz players, of course, like Louis Armstrong, Chet Baker, Dizzy Gillespie, Clark Terry, Buck Clayton, one favorite of mine. For drums and percussion, I have to admit I can't think of any in the classical realm off the top of my head, but you can do a search and watch symphonic recordings and watch the percussion section there, or do just a search. Maybe you can do a generic search. And there's so many jazz drummers, Joe Jones, Max Roach, from down to the present day, wonderful players to listen to and be inspired by. So that's just very like the literal tip of the iceberg. There's so much out there, and I encourage you to explore. Just to let your mind wander, see what you can find, and it will inspire you to say, hey, maybe I could play like that someday, which is what we want. And that keeps us going. It's hard sometimes for me to practice. It gets to be kind of boring and a drudgery, and occasionally I have to recharge my batteries by listening to wonderful players that make me want to keep going. So that's what we're trying to accomplish here, is inspiration, kind of keep us going. So I hope that this was helpful to you. And again, feel free to send me feedback. I always welcome. I've gotten a few some videos already, and I appreciate that. So I wish you a good luck and good health, and take care. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye.